Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled The Seals of Revelation, Seal 4. Now in Revelation chapter 6, we are told about the Lamb of God, which is identified as Jesus Christ, who opens 7 seals on a scroll. And as he opens each seal, different colored horses appear, which seem to represent several destructive processes, which are unleashed upon a certain portion of the world. Several of these unleashed destructive processes fit a lot of events that seem to have happened and are still happening in the world. So it is understandable if one were to ask if these seals have already been opened and if they have already been unleashed upon the world. In this article, we will look at what Seal 4 is likely to entail. And in Revelation 6 verses 7 to 8, we read, "When the Lamb opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature say, 'Come.' I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. When the 4th seal is opened, a pale horse appears. The word pale seems to here refer to a greenish or sickly color. And the fact that its rider is called Death seems to imply that sickness followed by death is what is unleashed. The last sentence seems to be referring to all 4 horses and how they would be given power over 1/4 of the earth and given free rein to kill with the sword or war unleashed by the red horse, famine or severe economic hardship unleashed by the black horse, and plague or sickness unleashed by the pale horse, and all of them empowered by the white horse, the Antichrist, which conquered nations with his own desired outcome in mind, namely destroy true Christians and Jews and take Jerusalem for himself, and also drastically reduce the world's population. In addition, wild beasts of the earth are mentioned as one of the ways that people will be killed. Now, the earth has been plagued by countless outbreaks of disease for many years. There has just been yet another outbreak of the viral disease called Ebola in the Congo. This is only one of the many viral diseases that have caused many deaths in Africa. Another disease called AIDS, which is believed to be caused by the HIV virus, seems to have killed many millions of people in Africa. Many people have questioned whether the disease was not either invented or created simply to kill black people and sell retroviral drugs, which, like most of the drugs put together by the world's pharmaceutical companies, cures nothing and actually causes more disease. This is to be expected since none of these drugs are made with natural compounds that the human body would recognize, as natural compounds cannot be patented. And compounds that the body does not recognize are basically toxins which will further stress the body and thus cause more disease. Africa seems to be the continent that has experienced the worst fatalities of any continent, with millions of people dying as a result of AIDS, so that the life expectancy is extremely low. What could be causing this huge tragedy? Well, it is most likely viral infections like HIV and other factors working together. As I have lived in South Africa, a country that has been greatly plagued by AIDS deaths, I have seen firsthand that the poor tend to eat basically cornmeal and meat, no vegetables, and thus a very low nutrition diet. They also drink and smoke heavily and often drink home concocted, heavily toxic alcoholic brews. Also, the cornmeal they have now been eating for quite a few years is genetically modified, which may also have something to do with a very low life expectancy. In addition, you often find that cell phone towers or many cell phone towers surrounding villages. And the people themselves will tell you that the more the towers sprout up, the more of the people in the village die like flies. So what seems to emerge is a plan to decrease the population through poverty, bad nutrition, toxic food, and toxic electromagnetic environment, in addition to infectious disease. And you see the cell phone towers. Sometimes a little village may be surrounded by 10, 20 towers. So these obviously the people themselves know that these towers are not good for them, because they've seen how the deaths increase as more and more of these towers appear near their villages. But Africa is not the only place in the world where this is occurring. At the beginning of the 20th century, agriculture moved away from natural methods, which then led to food not having the minerals that it had before. And the lack of those minerals leads to disease. It's simple logic that if you only provide a limited number of minerals in the form of chemical fertilizer for plants, that eventually the soil will become depleted, and therefore the plants grown on that soil will become depleted, and so will the people eating those plants. And since minerals cannot be manufactured by the human body or animals, and since these are needed for many vital functions, that their lack will lead to disease. Then many toxic chemicals were introduced into society, offered as miraculous cleaning products, for example, which are poisonous and thus cause disease. And finally, fluoride, which is highly toxic, was added to the water. In addition, genetically modified foods, which have been shown to cause tumors in rats, and which, like the pharmaceutical drugs, are not natural to the human body and can therefore only lead to more disease, have been forced upon huge numbers of people. So the plan to kill as many people as possible through disease is prevalent throughout or everywhere on Earth. There is evidence that the manufacturing of the HIV virus was planned in the 1970s. This would certainly not be the first time that a virus or pathogen would be manufactured with the specific aim of decreasing the Earth's population. The Ebola virus emerged in 1976, and there were 2 simultaneous outbreaks in 2 villages. The fact that the disease was not known until that time suggests that it was manufactured and released in those 2 villages at the same time. There is also evidence that Lyme disease, which is spread through ticks, was manufactured. The malaria that is occurring in Africa at the moment is much more deadly than the malaria that I knew as a child, and suggests that they may have been human intervention in that as well. However, whether it is as a result of a natural virus, a manufactured virus, or whether an insect like a tick or mosquito, we can say that these are all wild beasts of the earth, and people are dying as a result. So these could be the wild beasts that Revelation is referring to. Now, disease leading to death has reached absolutely epidemic proportions on Earth. We know this because of the number of death certificates that state the cause of death was natural. In other words, extremely few. Think about it. How many people do you know that have died peacefully in their sleep, not having been afflicted by any disease? Often even those that die in an accident do so because they had a disease that caused them to fall down the stairs, for instance, or fall asleep whilst driving. Even those that kill themselves often do so because of emotional disturbances which are known to occur as a result of nutritional deficiencies. Even criminal activity seems to be associated to nutritional deficiencies. So people killed as a result of crime are victims of those social engineers that decided long ago to remove real nutrition from food through modern farming practices. Perhaps those social engineers are the true beasts of the earth. These beasts seem to have been working feverishly in order to reduce the nutrition in food, create toxic environments, and manufacturing disease processes in order to reduce the Earth's population. The removal of nutrition from food came about at the beginning of the 20th century when chemical fertilizers were introduced. The use of manufactured chemicals took off at the end of the 19th century when fossil fuels started being used to create various byproducts. But it seems that lab-created diseases appeared in the 1970s, which is when plagues like Ebola seem to have appeared. The occurrence of these plagues seems to, however, have greatly accelerated since the year 1995, which may signify that the pale horse was released at around that time. And we see that in this diagram, this bar diagram here, which shows the number of outbreaks over the years between 1980 and 2010. And you see that there was a jump here between 1995 and 2000. So there seems to be, and there was another jump here, which would have been between 2005 and 2010. There does seem to be an exponential decrease here, occurring here. So after 2005. But so we could say that perhaps the pale horse was released between 1995 and 2000, but it could have been released even before then. So in conclusion, death and disease has reached epidemic proportions on Earth, which may suggest that the pale horse is riding through the Earth and that therefore the fourth seal has been opened. This may have occurred between 1995 and 2000. However, the deadliest beasts of the Earth seem to be the social engineers who have decided that most of the Earth's population needs to die. And these seem to have been hard at work for quite some time. And here are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.